There was a time near the end of December where the Edmonton Oilers season hung in the balance pending the results on the January schedule. And now solidly after a 10-2-2 record through the month of January, the Oilers are looking the best they have all season long and finally delivering that promise we have been waiting for a while, my friends. January wrapped up last night with a dominant 7-3 win over top of the Chicago Blackhawks, and the Oilers obviously don't get back to action until Tuesday, well, February 7th. So we've got almost, 9 days off here, the All Star break, everything included. And then we face Detroit, Philadelphia, Ottawa, Montreal, Detroit, and then the Rangers. So realistically, in terms of teams that are going to be heavy to play against, the New York Rangers are our next big opponent. And if you can again make up ground in that first 5 game stretch there before you get to New York and Colorado, the Oilers could be looking good. Friends, this is Dolynny TV. Good afternoon, good morning, wherever you're tuning in from. Welcome aboard to what is, well, NFL, AFC, NFC Championship Sunday, I believe it is. So there's a lot going on in the sports world today, and I thank you for spending a little bit of your time with me today as we get set for the video. Just the housekeeping notes, of course. If you're new to the channel, I'd love to have you aboard for more future videos, streams, shorts, everything. If you'd be so kind to hit that subscribe button. We're closing in now, just 11 away from 10,400 Crazy Oilers fans here combined together on Dolynny TV. All right, so we get to the Oilers here, right? February still a few weeks away, it seems like, because you got this weekend, you got to get to Tuesday next week, or this week, however you look at your Sundays, and then all of a sudden get another week in advance through the All-Star break for the Oilers to get anywhere there. When it comes to the standings, though, we've got a week off here, and this is where the standings may start changing if the teams in our division don't necessarily have days off. But you look at this Oilers squad right now and how it all stacks up. You've got Calgary on the outside looking in at 57 points. Then you got Colorado with 57 points. Obviously, Calgary's sitting outside because of points percentage. Edmonton's there with 60 points in the top wild card spot. But I think a lot of us Oilers fans are sitting here feeling a lot better about a top wild card spot than we were only a few weeks ago. Why is that? Because the division leader in the Seattle Kraken has 63 points. One win, obviously things are subject to change here still for the Oilers, as you see that Los Angeles still is playing games on January 31st, but Vegas is idle till Tuesday, February 7th. And I don't know, sorry, the graphic didn't pop up. And so is Seattle. So for the Oilers, unless LA really changes things within the division, and unless Calgary gets a big old win, and it won't even matter by February 6th, things are not going to change too much in the Pacific Division. It looks like the only one that can really change things would be the LA Kings. So when again, too, Colorado's on pause, so the wild card picture should stay pretty much intact here until things get going. Maybe someone to say like St. Louis could change things a little bit in that bottom end of the picture there if they get a couple of wins and get within 54 points and kind of tie up Nashville here as the stretch goes down. But right now for the Oilers, it's kind of a comfortable seat, right? As you're just absolutely rolling. You're 10-2-2 in the month of January. And like I said, at the end of January or at the end of December, I did a video on the Oilers sitting here saying, man, it is make or break this month for the Edmonton Oilers. You have a good month, you win the hockey games, you go out there and do your job against your division opponents, and you're going to find yourself right where you want to be, and especially beat up on the weaker teams. And when you think about our only losses this month were against Seattle and LA in regulation time, you think about what even taking that to extra time would have done for the Oilers. That puts us right there in almost what would be potentially a three-way tie for second place in the division. Secondary to that is if you would have found a way to win one of those games and not allow those guys points, you'd be atop the division, especially if you found a way to beat Seattle. But that's a whole bunch of what ifs and, well, you coulda, shoulda, woulda. And I'm really not here to discuss that this morning. I'm really just here to discuss exactly what the Oilers needed to do. They got it done, and that's the beautiful part here is right. The depth scoring stood up, and everything's kind of come up in terms of what the Oilers needed to do. They got it done, and now all of a sudden you can kind of reap the benefits of that and hopefully start taking home larger victories towards the end of the season. I know a lot of people were telling me, well, the schedule gets easier, the Oilers just will play better. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. But it still could not have happened is the fear that I had there. And that's kind of the thing is you just never know with the Oilers, but they got the job done. And that is a huge get for us fans because, right, when you're thinking about, man, it's the end of December and the Oilers could miss the playoffs, that's kind of unfortunate. When you look at the Oilers' goaltending, obviously Jack Campbell really raising the bar here over the past several weeks. 334 goals against average, save percentage of 887. Right, that doesn't sound that great, but when you compare, it was at 1.3 points something, high 80s, and a save percentage below 875. And now all of a sudden he's worked himself back to those numbers. That's pretty phenomenal. Stuart Skinner at a 914 save percentage, 292 goals against average. And you think about both our goalies have more wins than the regulation losses, which I think with Jack Campbell's numbers would astound a lot of people just based on giving them that. But a 15-8-1 record for Jack Campbell and a 13-10-3 record for Stuart Skinner. So you think about that. Jack Campbell has points in 2-1 games, right? Two games with points to games without points, and Stuart Skinner has 16 games with points as opposed to 10 losses without anything. So you look at the scoring leaders and how it all stacks up. Connor's obviously up at the top with 92 points. You've got Leon Draisaitl up there with 76, but now you've got Zach Hyman and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins both with 60 points on the year, both with 20 goals on the year. But this is where it really falls apart for the Oilers, and this is the part that I just hopefully changes down the stretch, is in terms of goal scoring. Tyson Barrie has 7 on the year. He's right in behind Nuge with 34 points. Darnell Nurse is the next highest scoring points guy with 25. I mentioned that in the stream last night. He's got 6 goals, 19 assists. Evan Bouchard's got 3 goals, 18 points. You look at Ryan McLeod, who's got 15 points on the season, but that's again aided by a 2-point performance last night and really coming into his own this year. But again, here's the thing: Ryan McLeod's only played 37 out of a possible 50 games. Sorry, so you divide that out, and suddenly Ryan McLeod's not on too bad of a pace at all. If your third, fourth line centerman wants to have 35 points on the season, we'll take that all day, every day. Evander Kane, obviously, him with 14 points in 18 games, right, is we'd be talking about another guy having 20 goals or another guy having 15, 20 goals if Evander Kane had been healthy all season. Matthias Janmark, 13 points. Klim Kostin, 13 points. Both of them have played 34 games. But for what we're getting out of them, we're having a pretty good go from them, so we're not minding that at all. Kyler Yamamoto, obviously, 12 points in 31 games. Not nearly as bad as maybe the guys ahead of him. But again, too, for him, injuries have really plagued him all season long. Brett Kulak with 11 points, right? Maybe like to see a little bit more there. Warren Fogle, obviously, we'd love to see more there from Warren Fogle, and yes, Puljujarvi and Dylan Holloway, some more points production would be great. I think one big mystery to me is how Cody Ceci still only has 7 points in 50 games this year. Philip Broberg had that little hot streak, so did Vinny Desharnais, and everyone else is kind of unmentionable because they either don't have points or it just really doesn't matter because there's not a goal scored. And you look at this, right? That's your scoring summary for the Oilers. And obviously, too, I think it would be an interesting comparison. The reason I gave that to you is go look back in December and look at where the Oilers' depth scoring was as opposed to where the Oilers' depth scoring is now. I think you would see a mighty big change between that and where they are now. So, friends, that's where we want to end it today. A positive January, the one that we needed. We got it done, and I'm so glad we did because it was a huge opportunity for us fans to enjoy our team in the middle of winter and to get right back to where we should be, right in the hunt for the division crown this year. Friends, I'm Tyson. This is Dolynny TV. Thank you so much for tuning in. I am up on out of here.